Welcome back to Crazy Ex Podcast. This time, Roger and I watched Season 1, Episode 9, I'm Going to the Beach with Josh and his friends. As always, we'll start off with a synopsis. When Valencia Spite invites Rebecca to the cruise beach day, Rebecca rents a party bus and chaos ensues. Josh wants everything to be the same as always. Greg invites Heather. Daryl invites himself. Rebecca does a pole dance, and everyone starts fighting. Valencia gets Rebecca to reveal why she really moved to West Covina, and Rebecca finally admits why she did. When Paula comes to get her, she finally tells Paula that she loves Josh. Roger, what do you think of this episode?
I challenge your synopsis, because I don't think she did admit either of those things correctly.
Okay.
But I do think the episode was useful.
Okay.
I think we finally got everybody kind of in on the same page, because obviously there's been a decent amount of like, whoa, why did you move here? Or, yeah, you called me. Like, obviously Rebecca's lie basically came crashing down. I don't know, I mean, look, Rebecca was her usual cringe self. I mean, you said it perfectly, like, this is going to be a lot of cringe, and it was. I actually liked a lot of the side character stuff that we got.
Mm-hmm. We learned a lot about Joe.
Yeah.
He's kind of just been a background character.
Yeah, like it was an interesting, like it's obviously Rebecca centered because she's the main character, but I thought everybody else was interesting to get more information out of, and then Rebecca was Rebecca. That's the way I feel about it.
I also like this episode. It is very cringy. Rebecca is super cringy, and Daryl is also super cringy in this episode.
I feel Daryl was as cringy, but maybe it's because he got less screen time.
Yeah, I mean, yes, he definitely gets less screen time than Rebecca, but like he invites himself to the thing. Yes. He's the one that's causing the traffic jam.
That was an amazing little tidbit that I appreciated. But like, it wasn't just that it's something random happened. He did it.
And he just, the way that he talks, like, what a coinky dink to run into you and your friendos.
So, you're not wrong, but like, it makes sense to me how out of touch he is. Because he's a lot older than him and doesn't belong with this friend group.
Yeah.
It's weirder to me that Rebecca is of the same age and sounds very similar to Daryl.
Yeah. I actually really like how much information we get about Josh in this episode, too.
Not like Josh.
Josh. Yeah, I agree. This is a great episode for character development across the board. I love the beginning of this episode and the, like, 2 Seinfeld references that we get in quick succession. I actually, before Greg even started doing the Seinfeld impression, which was funny and very Greg.
Very appropriate.
The movie that they go see is so, like, Seinfeld does that all the time. They go to, like, a fake movie that has a ridiculous name, like The Cancer Crew. I just thought it was great.
I like that she went to the movie by herself, because I would just really never do that. Not because I have anything wrong with it, I just, like, that's just not an activity I do by myself. Like, I'll watch a movie at home by myself, but I don't go to movies by myself.
Last year, I saw 39 movies in the theater by myself. I'm literally going to a movie by myself immediately after this.
I know. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I see nothing wrong with it. It's just, like, there's a huge juxtaposition between Rebecca and, like, I don't have a problem with it, but, like, to me, going to the movies is a friend group thing. Or I go with my wife, or go with you. But, like, if I'm, like, bored, I'm never going to be like, let's go watch Batman. I'm like, I can do that some other time with people.
Yeah. I mean, I think 2 things. You would prefer to watch a movie at your home than at the
100%.
theater. And I don't feel that way.
Yeah.
And I agree. Like, my favorite part about seeing a movie is talking to people about a movie that I saw. And we don't have to have watched it at the same time to talk about it later. Because during the movie, there actually is no interaction occurring.
You and I don't watch movies differently. So, like, for example, here's my best example of this. Jen and I went to watch Deadpool. Jen didn't understand everything about it because she's not a comic nut, so she could, like, hey, what's that? Or why is that funny? And then I could explain it real quick. Kat and Brent also watched it separately, and they were like, yeah, we just didn't get it. Like, it was funny, but, like, we wish we had a translator or someone who could explain it. Jen was like, yeah, I had Roger. Like, so I appreciate being able to, like, fill in that knowledge gap or, like, explain, you know, like, that's an enjoyable experience to me.
Yeah. The amount of talking that you do in a movie theater is not awesome.
Well, I'm not only just snob because everyone needs to be quiet in a movie theater. This isn't a Broadway show.
Well, you know what's really funny, Roger? In the Seattle area,
Yeah.
people are way better behaved at the movie theater than they are at the Paramount. It's very strange. People talk constantly at the Paramount.
Is it possible that maybe this is a you thing and it's not as bad to everyone else?
I mean, I have other friends who you would probably also call elitist that don't like it. I almost never have problems with people talking at the movies, though. That almost never happens.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, that was our sidebar.
Yeah. Why can't movies be social events? You know what the best part of sports games is? That you get to enjoy the experience together. Because if we're just not going to talk, I could just sit home and watch it by myself. Anyway, moving on back to the show. Follow-up question. So, here's the friend group. And then there's Greg. My first question literally I wrote was, Greg's friends with these people?
I think they have all been friends for a very long time.
And I totally get that. What my question was that, like, okay, when they were friends, because usually you bond as a friend over something shared in common, were they all basically dumbass children, and then Greg grew up and they didn't? Was he always, but then the way Josh makes it sound like he's always been like this. So was Greg always kind of smarter than the rest of them? And then, like, now as they get older, it's bothering Greg in a way it doesn't bother Josh and Joe and all them because, like, they're happy kind of just living in this, like, eternal childhood. And Greg's like, I would like to grow up now.
Yeah. That is an interesting question. I mean, Greg hates everything. Greg literally has a song called I Hate Everything But You. So, because I don't think that inherently going to the beach is like a childish thing to do. But it's like Josh's approach to it of like, we always do it this way. We always drink this beer. We always listen to this music. We always drive in the same car with always the same people. Like, that's very childish. Well, like, he can't grow up from that.
And we've always gone to the beach. So we have to go to the beach. Whereas, like, he's like, let's go to the Getty Museum, which sounds terrible to me, but, like, you would enjoy that. And go see some art. And, like, he would like to do something different. He would like to change.
I like how you just assume that because I like fancy elitist things that I like art museums. I would probably like the Getty because they mostly have photography, but I actually don't really like art museums very much.
But I was correct that you would probably like the Getty.
Yeah.
So my
photographs are fun.
Was correct. Cool. I like how you assumed that because I was right about this thing, I must have assumed you like all elitist things as opposed to just knowing that you like the Getty. Also, you do have more of an appreciation for art than what I would call my non-elitist friends.
I really only like art based on whether I think it's pretty or not.
Sure. You've gone to an art opening before. I remember you telling me that.
An art opening? I've never gone to an art opening in my entire life.
Telling me that like a friend had an art opening and you went to it.
A friend had an art opening?
This was years ago, but I swear I remember you. And like Greenwood too, oddly enough.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
I don't think I know anyone that's an artist.
But yeah, like, so, like, Josh, I think we talked about this in the previous episode. Josh seems to struggle with, like, he has a bit of the Peter Pan syndrome. He kind of wants to be a little boy the entire time.
The complexity of Josh in this episode is, like, really intense.
Yeah.
And in a way that I appreciate. Like, there were a lot of things I didn't like. There were a lot of things I did like. Like, he feels like a very real person that is...
Yeah, you know people like this. I know people like
this,
I should say.
Well, it's also interesting to me, like, Greg is here because Greg's friends with the same people that he's been friends with forever.
Yeah.
I mean, the beach seems like something Valencia would enjoy, but it doesn't seem like Valencia would enjoy any of Josh's friends. Because they don't like her. They're terrified of her.
They're afraid of her.
Well, and even at the beginning, Greg is like, Valencia, that's the original crew.
I mean, I would say that if all of them are friends, excluding Valencia, and Valencia has basically forced her way into this situation, she probably sees it as all of them like being around me because I'm hot.
Uh-huh. Well, and they also, Valencia and Josh dated in high school, so they've also known Valencia for a really long time.
But I think in her mind, she probably doesn't actually realize that the boys don't like her because men always like her.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's hot. Mm-hmm. I doubt she is actually aware that they find her personality awful. Mm-hmm. If I had to guess that. And then on top of that, I'm not entirely sure that, like, Valencia minds them at all. Like, I'm going to overgeneralize here, but I suspect if you were someone like Valencia the exact type of people you want to be around are stupid attractive men.
Mm-hmm.
That is exactly the demographic that you can manipulate and still enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
People like Greg are not really good for her.
Yeah.
But Josh and Joe and Hector, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So this kind of tracks.
I also liked that, like, Joe has, like, no sense. Like, he just, like, Rebecca is kind of zeroing in on him because he's the only person not coupled on the bus at the beginning, which is not good motivation. But he also just, like, talks for, like, 30 minutes about, like, his childhood and exercising.
You have a very funny phrase. I love it when you say not good.
Not good.
Yeah. Because it usually means someone's doing something relatively despicable, but you like the person. So you kind of like minimize it a little bit. Like, yeah, that's not good. Okay, let's move on.
I mean, I don't know if I would say that it's despicable.
I'm not saying in this case
Rebecca's
it's
trying to
despicable.
talk to Josh on the bus.
No.
Because
Well,
he too, I mean, I think White Josh could kind of have a good time anywhere.
Yeah.
But he too doesn't have anyone to talk to.
This is not where it's despicable. Though I have to admit, it is relatively underhanded to use someone else and pretend you want to be their friend when you really have no intent of doing it. Like, that's kind of a low quality thing to do. I would say it's not despicable. It's a thing I've noticed. But I've noticed that you use that phrase in a very specific scenario.
That's interesting. I don't disagree with your assessment, but I think that Rebecca does want to be friends with these people. Rebecca wants friends. I guess I shouldn't say Rebecca wants to be friends with these people. I don't think that Rebecca's only motivation here is Josh. I think the people that she's choosing to be friendly with are because of Josh. But Rebecca wants friends that are not. Like, Paula is her only friend.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the answer is nuanced. I think she genuinely wants to be friends with Greg.
Yep.
I think she genuinely wants to be friends with Heather.
Yep.
I don't think she wants to be friends with Valencia. I've never believed that from day one. I think she hates Valencia.
She definitely doesn't want to be friends with Valencia now.
I don't think she ever did. I always thought she wanted to replace her. So I think the answer is, I think she'd rather just be Valencia, and then she has Josh and the friends that come with it. I don't know that I buy that she really is here for motivations other than Josh, though. Like, yes, she would like those things, but I don't think she would have gone to the beach if Josh weren't going.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then that tells me then, like, if you're only going to go because of a reason, that's the reason you went.
But at the beginning of the episode, I do think that she's sad. Like, she's not just staring longingly at their group because she wants Josh.
Agreed.
She wants to be hanging out with people.
She wishes she had friends.
Yeah. And it's interesting because Daryl clearly wants to be Rebecca's friend.
She doesn't want that.
She doesn't want that at all.
Yeah, that's the thing, though, is that Rebecca wants a thing that fits to exactly what she wants. She doesn't just want friends. She wants friends that get her to Josh.
Mm-hmm.
Just like she doesn't want to be friends with Josh. That's a lie.
Well, and it seems like based on, like, I think there's a lot of denial happening from Rebecca in this episode. But it is not untrue. Like, she was miserable in New York. She worked all the time. Like, those things are true. And I don't know that she had a lot of friends in New York either.
I would conclude that's probably correct.
And certainly not friends that she still talks to, because she doesn't talk to or about any friends that she used to have in New York.
Like, I think all of the things that she said are half-truth.
Mm-hmm. Which
is, most lies are this is a Rumpelstiltskin statement, right? When he says all the things that he says, he's not lying. He's just usually leaving out a piece of information that tell you the whole story.
Yeah. Well, and
I think Rebecca said was a lie.
Well, yeah. Similarly, I think when she admits that she moved there because Josh said the word happy so many times. Like, that's not untrue. Like,
I think that triggered, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah. And all the things that she says that she likes about West Covina, also think those are true. She's like, yeah, New York is, like, frigid and people work all the time. And, like, it's nice here. Like, it's warm. We're going to the beach in January.
And I think each one of those things is absolutely a very true secondary motivation.
Yes.
100%. It's nice to be in the good weather. It's nice to do all those things. It's like, I've heard people say that, like, oh, I don't like having the money. It's everything. It's like, bullshit. You like having the money. Like, there are other things that money gets you that are nice, but you like having the money. Like, that's your primary motivation why you do the thing you do.
Well, and then, like, the added layer, like, she says she loves it here. And I think she does like the location, but she's sad. She was sad at the beginning of the episode. She's sad now. Like, she's still sad, even though she moved to this place that she loves.
But, and this is, I think, the sad part, if they were all genuinely friends with her and she doesn't get Josh, she's still going to be sad. that isn't going to make her happy. That's, I guess, what my point is. That, like, yes, she is looking longingly at the friends and all the things, but she is so obsessed that I don't think friendships are going to make her happy. It'll make her content for a bit, but it's not going to genuinely get her what she wants.
Well, and then the like Josh aspect of this, because I feel like I think that Josh is dumb and Josh is like relatively shallow, but we get some like depth here that he too genuinely likes the place that he grew up. And I think that he moved to New York probably from the Greg people that are like, oh, we live in this shithole town and you like can't stay in the place where you grew up because like that's bullshit. And he tried it and he didn't like it.
Was he with Valencia at the time?
They broke up when he moved. And then they got back together when he moved back.
Gotcha.
It might have been like a we're on a break while I try this out situation, but right. But they definitely were not like actively in a relationship when he was in New York. And I don't think he was there for that long. I think it was like less than a year.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like there's a lot of issues with people's self-denial and lies in this episode. Rebecca,
like, there's only one person who's honest in this entire episode about who they really are.
Paula?
Okay, there are two people who are. Well, no, Paula's lying too.
Yeah,
Valencia.
I guess that's true.
Valencia's the only one who's honest. And she starts it with a deception by inviting Rebecca on, but she is honest about exactly what her reasons are and why she's doing what she does.
Yeah. But like Rebecca and Josh have like a genuine moment on the bus when they sing the West Covina reprise. Like he's like, someone finally sees me and understands like what it like that this place is great and that like there's like this is happiness is like some of these smaller things that like make up the whole. But then he immediately flips on it and is like, don't tell anyone about this.
Well, he's not incorrect that Valencia would have been very mad about
Of course!
Also, I think what is actually sad about that conversation is that he genuinely thinks Rebecca has finally like had a come to Jesus moment about West Covina. And I don't think that's genuinely true. Like, I think the things that he sees in West Covina, he genuinely loves this place and is genuinely happy to be around his friends. Like, I think Josh is not a very learned person, but I think he's at least capable of some introspection and self-awareness in a way that a lot of people are not. Rebecca being the prime suspect there. But I don't think Rebecca is just seeing Josh. It's not all of the things. It is just Josh.
Well, but interestingly, Josh, like Rebecca, is also lying to himself. Like, he admitted to being attracted to Rebecca, but he clearly is just more than physically attracted to Rebecca. He's, like, drawn to her in a way that he is not drawn to Valencia.
Yeah. I mean, that could be friendship.
It could be friendship, but it seems like, I mean, if you both want to be someone's friend and you're also attracted to them, that's more than friendship.
No, I don't agree with that at all. You don't have any friends you find attractive?
Not that I would be like, I'm really attracted to you, but I'm choosing not to date you and choosing to date my girlfriend instead.
Sure.
Like, it's not just like he thinks she's hot. It's like he's like attracted to her.
I mean, it's just a weird...
Like, if Valencia it didn't exist, he would be dating her, is basically what he said.
Yeah, I mean, I know people who are friends with their exes.
Yeah, sure.
That's this then.
But that's usually like, it's changed. Like, we don't still want to be dating. We're not dating now for a reason, and we liked being together for whatever, so now we're friends.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just not as weird to me as you find it. Like,
I don't think it's weird. I just think that Josh is also lying to himself about how he feels about Rebecca.
I don't know that. Hey, I don't know that Josh does a whole lot of lying to himself. That is where I will now use the, like, let's be real. Josh has, like, in any given moment, 2 or 3 thoughts roaming around in his head. Maybe he is subconsciously lying to himself, and maybe that's, like, if Valencia weren't here. But also, like, he could break up with Valencia. So that's not the end of the world. Not like they're married with children by any stretch of the imagination. So I also think there's something about Rebecca. He's a bit like, this seemed like the first time he was like, oh, you get it. Which means this seems like he didn't think she got it before. Yeah, I don't know. That's,
Well, and like Josh also has a moment of introspection at the end of the episode when he makes up with Greg.
Yeah.
And Greg doesn't really apologize. Greg apologizes for like the act of the fight, but he doesn't apologize for like being a negative Nancy all the time.
And you and I view this differently. I think Greg was right, so I don't think he had anything to apologize for. I think Josh was in the wrong.
Well, and Josh apologized for like being controlling and it also I think there's something that we're perhaps going to see more of here, which is Greg maybe actually does have fun when you finally get him to the place. Like, he seems kind of excited to go with Heather to like go see the paint on bikini lady.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing, though, is, like, you can still have fun doing a thing that you're kind of tired of doing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, we said it before, like, I'm tired of watching these two act out the scene, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm still tired of it,
yeah,
but you can still enjoy it.
Well, we're still watching it.
We're still watching it.
Yeah.
Well, but, like, in the same thing, it's like, I think Greg is, like, why can't we try new things? Like, I think the core of this is that, like, Josh is very much trying, kind of like the last episode, he's, like, trying to just stay frozen in this eternal youth, right? He wanted to beatbox, and it sucked that he had to go to work, and now it sucks that you want to bring in new people, and it's like, yes, but part of, literally the whole point of friendship is that you, like, stay friends while you get to, like, grow up together. Like, it would be dumb if you're like, all right, me and my friends can never get married, and we're never going to have new lives, we're not going to do new jobs, we're going to stay in the town that we grew up in the entire time and never change. It's like, but that's not life. But that's what Josh wants. Mm-hmm. Whereas, like, Greg's like, yeah, I, like, want to do something else.
Yeah.
Also, did they, like, they had some deep-seated resentment for each other that I think finally came out, and I'm wondering, like, A, does Greg resent all of them that way? Is it just a Josh thing?
That's a good question. It seems to me that Josh is like the ringleader of their group.
He charmed them all.
So it makes sense that Greg would direct this feeling at Josh because Josh is the one that like leads them. Mm-hmm. We don't really know enough about, like, Hector seems like a follower. We don't know enough about Hector.
No, Hector seems like a sleeper.
Hector slept for 15 hours, which was a great gag. Loved that.
Sleep. Yeah.
He had like 25 alarms going off. And I feel like even based on this episode, we're definitely going to get more white Josh. But we still don't really know enough about him either.
I would say Josh is just having fun. Like, he's not here to direct traffic or cause issues. He's just along for the ride, partying, having a good time. Josh Wilson, by the way. We get a full name.
His name is Josh Wilson. Yeah. Yep. And Daryl really likes him.
I thought that was actually one of the things I really enjoyed was Daryl was like, oh, that's like he like admired him. It was kind of cute.
Well, and then also that like white Josh seemed genuinely interested in talking to Daryl. Like, most of the time when someone is talking to Daryl, they don't want to be talking to Daryl.
So that's, I think, the part that kind of highlighted what bothered me about Rebecca talking to Josh. Rebecca didn't really want to talk to Josh. Rebecca just didn't want to be alone.
Yeah.
Daryl wanted to talk to Josh
and
was genuinely interested in what Josh had to say and was like engaged in the conversation, having a good time. Whereas like I think Rebecca like zones out, starts thinking about Josh Chan or does another thing. She's like, oh, this is so boring. It's like, that's totally fair that you're bored by this, but like then she's like bothered when Daryl wants to talk to Josh because Daryl is interested in Josh.
Well, the way that Rebecca treats Daryl in this episode is horrendous. It also is wildly inappropriate for your boss to crash a personal party that you're having. But like aside from that, she's using him when it's convenient, and that is not like that is bad.
So this is like almost like what I said the other podcast that we did was like, but this is like the standard for the show.
Yeah.
So, like, is it more inappropriate for White Feather to be here than it was to be at her last party when he does meth or heroin or whatever the fuck he gets caught doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and also, like, you just go into the...
Well, she only invited him to that party because it was convenient.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is actually just par for the course, in my opinion. Not that bad. Also, Daryl seems to fit into this group better than Rebecca does.
Yes.
So, I don't know. Rebecca's the odd man out here. But I did like it. Like, that was nice. Like, it felt like a good, like, genuine friendship moment. Like, I bet they'll talk at the gym now, and I bet Josh would love to help Daryl improve his workout. Yeah. Guarantee he would have a good time with that. They would both benefit from that. Mutually beneficial friendship.
Couple other things I liked. Greg's face when Rebecca talks about hooking up with the vegan at the taco festival, it was priceless.
So... I feel like we use the phrase hookup in this episode in multiple ways that are inconsistent.
I think people use that phrase in inconsistent ways regularly. I do, personally.
Yeah, I don't.
Hook up to you means have sex.
Correct.
Okay, yeah.
Or, not to use a Bill Clinton thing.
Yeah,
sexual relations.
I do not believe that Greg and Rebecca have had sex, but
Correct.
Rebecca had sex with the guy from the Taco Festival.
Agreed. I would not say Rebecca and Greg hooked up.
Yeah, but they did make out.
Sure. Children make out in truth or dare. Children did not hook up. See the difference there? Like, when you say hook up, there's just like a very specific thing that I think about.
Also, remember that this is a CW TV show.
Sure.
They're only allowed to say some things.
Well, I don't know. I've heard them get away with some shit that they're allowed to talk about. Clearly, the standards and practices is not paying attention that closely.
Yeah. And lastly, Greg and Heather kind of have a cute little... I mean, Heather is very patient in this episode because Greg is being very, like... It's kind of like when they were at the holiday party. Like, he's just fixating...
Oh, yeah.
And it's not like the things aren't real. Like at the holiday party, it was not real.
Sure. Agreed.
But, like, yeah, Josh is being a jerk, but it's like, okay, well, like, we could have fun, though.
Well, I think not even more... I don't even actually think it's that. I think she's more or less like, this is who you are.
Yeah.
Like, that's actually what I think she says. I dig that.
Yeah, he says, who cares about being likable? And she says, you don't seem to. I dig that.
Exactly. I can appreciate a character who likes the other person for who they are, not who they could be. Mm-hmm. And she's just like, yeah, you're kind of just a miserable curmudgeon at times. I'm cool with that. And also, guys, we learned from last episode, Greg tends to imagine things being worse than they maybe really are.
Yeah. And lastly, Paula finally being like, I've had it up to here with you, and we're not doing this anymore until you admit that you love Josh.
I think at this point, the only person who still believes that Rebecca isn't in love with Josh and didn't move here for Josh is Rebecca. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because I think everyone else very clearly sees through that now.
And
Valencia
maybe Josh.
Does. Huh?
And maybe Josh.
Sure. I will give you Josh probably does. Greg certainly knows.
Yes, Greg definitely knows.
Valencia absolutely knows. Whitefeather may have even figured that out by now.
I think it's weird that you call him Whitefeather.
What's his name?
I know, but his name is Daryl, and they all call him Daryl.
Yeah, but his name is Whitefeather.
So then when she's going through her, like, oh, this thing happened, and, like, I did this, and that's why I moved here, and she's like, and then a 1/8 Chippewa called me.
Now that's weird. I mean, there are people I've met where, like, they just go by their last name. That's not...
Yeah, like, no, yeah. But he doesn't.
Yeah, that's true. He does go.
He goes by Daryl.
Whitefeather's so much more memorable.
Anything else that you liked or didn't like that you want to talk about?
We covered my likes. Let's talk about some dislikes.
We covered all of mine, but let's go.
I'm surprised we covered all of yours. Rebecca is a Harvard and Yale graduate. So she's not dumb. But she doesn't immediately recognize that Valencia is setting her up. She's very suspicious while it's happening. Paula says, don't you realize this is a trap? And Rebecca seems to be like, no, and even if it is, it doesn't seem like she spent a lot of time thinking about it.
While it's happening, Valencia invites her to the thing, and Rebecca's like, you're inviting me to go to the beach with you.
But that doesn't sound like someone who thinks it's a trap. That sounds like someone who's shocked to get an invite.
Okay, yeah, fair.
Like, you wouldn't think it's a trap if I said...
Yeah, I agree. I do not think that Rebecca thinks that Valencia is going to do something mean to her.
It's just, well, why? Like, it'd be like if I said, like, Chelsea wants Super Bowl, and you'd be like, why are you inviting me to watch Super Bowl? It wouldn't be a trap. It'd just be like, I just wouldn't expect that. Mm-hmm. As opposed to, like, you and Valencia have already had a very clear conflict, and you know that she knows you're after her boyfriend. Why would you trust going to the beach with this woman? Mm-hmm. Do you not see that this is a trap? Mm-hmm. So... Like, again, Rebecca's not dumb, and yet she's so obsessed with Josh that she's just willing to overlook the very clear trap that's being laid in front of her. So there's that. A little disappointing. And then, pole dancing?
Yeah, so that's my most ridiculous moment.
That's not even ridiculous to me so much as just, like, depressingly pathetic. Like, what are you... First off, you're bossless here. Second, Rebecca, like, kind of what I said at Thanksgiving, right? You've got to know your strengths. You are not going to beat Valencia at a sexy contest.
Well, and the funny thing is, I'm not sure, like, Valencia was sure that Rebecca chose to do that because she wanted Josh to think she was sexy.
I'm also sure of that.
I think that Rebecca is so fucking awkward that she was like, I know, this will be entertaining for everyone.
I don't think that at all.
Which is even worse.
If she thought it was entertaining for everyone, that is worse. But if you think about it from the lens of everything Rebecca does is to get Josh's attention.
Yeah.
Like, why would she be pole dancing for Greg? Why would she be pole dancing for Roger? Why would she be pole dancing for Darren?
I mean, Greg isn't a good example.
Yeah, he is. He's a perfect example. She didn't even care enough about him to sleep with him on their date.
But she does want Greg to like her, I think.
She wants Greg to think she's a good person.
Mm.
She doesn't really care about Greg.
Yeah, I mean, that moment is so cringeworthy. It's horrifying.
Well, it's also just not... Like, if you want to beat Valencia, what she should have done is simply make Valencia talk because Valencia is stupid and then show how dumb she is. Instead, you went into her arena. Like, Valencia is just hotter than Rebecca. It is just objectively true. If Valencia starts pole dancing, everyone's going to be like, that woman's really hot. Rebecca looks awkward and cringeworthy. What are you doing? And on top of that, your boss is here.
Yeah, your boss is here. And just, pole dancing is that's weird.
I mean, some people can do it and not look awkward.
And to be honest, she could do some things that a lot of people can't do on a pole.
I mean, I bet Valencia can probably pole dance if she wanted to.
Probably.
I mean, it's just... Though, one of my favorite lines did come from her pole dance. We was just like, what the fuck is going on? We did talk about the Rebecca, Josh conversation, White Josh, about how she just did not give a shit about anything he said. It was not despicable, but kind of just bad friend. I know that you're trying to be their friend, you should probably be engaged. And look, I get it. Some guys are boring as fuck to talk to.
Yeah.
But just say that and walk away.
Or White Josh, ask a question. This is how we have conversations. Why do so many adults not know how to have conversations? It's crazy.
Well, no one teaches you. You kind of just gotta learn. And I don't know that Rebecca's had enough friends to learn that. Also, it's a TV show, so they always make things look a little bit more...
Of course.
So, yeah. Okay, I have one top line.
I have 3-ish.
Ish?
What? 2 of them are related.
Okay.
The, quote from the movie, so thank you, Cancer, for showing us what friendship is all about, which is so ridiculous. And then I loved Greg's follow-up to that when they're talking about it later, when he said, except, somebody's like, oh, we're just like the crew. And he's like, except none of us have cancer. Yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. I do have the second line. It was when they were talking about who they relate to. And Valencia talks about how she relates to, the nurse who gives her kidney. And then Greg's like, you don't relate to the vain yoga instructor? She was fat.
Yep. And I also have when... I can't remember who she's saying it to, but White Josh takes off his shirt, and she was like, it's terrible. It's like he's allergic to shirts.
You see, so that, I guess, scenes like that, I can't believe that White Josh, who basically looks exactly like Asian Josh, just white, and Rebecca wants to be their friends and isn't so obsessed with Josh that she can't even see that White Josh, who is objectively an attractive man, is just that man just keeps taking her shirt off. And every other woman on the planet would be like, yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
It's during the really cringy pole dance, and I'm pretty sure White Josh says, yeah, I just saw inside her.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite moments. I think I saw inside of her.
But the horror in which he says it with is beautiful.
And before that, Daryl is like, did I just see? And Josh is like, yeah, I just saw inside of her. Yeah, that just happened.
Yep, 100%. That's a great line.
So there was actually only one new song in this episode.
Agreed.
Women Gotta Stick Together. There was a reprise of West Covina with Josh, which had new lyrics and was sung by Josh, which I guess is kind of a new song. And then there was a very mini reprise of I Have Friends, and then a sad instrumental version of it kept playing throughout the whole episode. I like the sad instrumental version a lot more than the actual song.
Agreed.
And I liked her mini reprise of it more than the actual song.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
It's less whiny, more sad.
And in the West Covina reprise, I really like there in the original song, there's this part where there's a rhyme and it sounds like Rebecca's going to say, I love Josh, but she says West Covina instead. And they do the exact same thing in this song. He says that like West Covina is paradise or whatever. It's Mecca. And then it sounds like he's going to say, I love Rebecca, but he says, I love West Covina.
Yeah. All agreed.
It's great. My favorite song in this episode is Women Gotta Stick Together.
Duh.
The complexity of this song, like the amount of things that they're trying to convey in the song is magical and feels so real to like being a woman.
So we argued in the first Valencia episode, I think it was, about like, no, the show is about like friendship and Rebecca and Valencia really see each other and friends. This song right here is exactly how I view their friendship. It is the premise of like, yeah, we gotta stick together in sisterhood and we're totally together, and in reality you're just sniping bitches at each other and you really can't stand one another.
But like the point of the song is that like that is how we are supposed to act. So like Valencia has been taught that this is how she's supposed to act around other women.
Sure, that's totally fair. But it is how she acts.
Yep, it's absolutely how she acts. But, like, the compulsion that, like, women are supposed to stick together, but then, like, we're also, like, sniping at each other like this all the time. It was great.
Yeah, you are supposed to be friendly, and you're supposed to, like, have real friendships, but in reality, you don't.
Except Denise Martinez, that bitch I cannot stand.
Yeah, like, I think that's a fine juxtaposition. I think taking away from that, the idea that, like, oh, but we're genuinely friends, I don't think you understand that part.
Well, no, I think that the song too is Valencia doesn't have any real friends.
Yeah, I don't think Valencia likes people.
Yeah,
or at the very least, Valencia has been trained to not like people because people don't like her. But yeah, I mean, I think the way that she had this like positive, but also Rebecca's not all that dissimilar either. Like for as much
absolutely,
we villainize Valencia because she's the evil, mean bitch. Most people in Valencia's scenario where another woman was actively scheming to take their boyfriend would be hostile, and we wouldn't look at them as wrong. We would say, well, yeah, the person trying to scheme and steal your husband or fiance or boyfriend is the bad guy here.
No, absolutely. Rebecca is
awful.
Rebecca is awful, and she is rationalizing it, which is even worse.
I don't even know if she's rationalizing or she just doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that she's ever justified it and said, like, I'm right for doing this, which is what I consider rationalizing. I think she doesn't care.
But then also, I think it's interesting to think about, like, yeah, they were talking about how, like, we're the friend crew, and we talked about how Greg, like, doesn't fit super great in the friend crew. No. But, like, Valencia also doesn't like any of these people. And she doesn't have any friends either.
I don't know that that is true.
You think that she likes how they make her feel because she's shallow, and they...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's shallow, and she likes stupid men that she can manipulate, and it works. As much as, I mean, there's also maybe a deeper argument that, like, she's probably never had a real friend.
Yeah.
So like
she says that to Rebecca in that episode.
And they probably all treated the way Rebecca has treated her. Like, either they were attracted to her or attracted to the guy she's with. So that could simply just be a defense mechanism, which is logical, because if people keep treating you a certain way, you assume that's how people are going to treat you. I liked the song. I thought it was a really funny message. It just reminded me of how ridiculous the idea that, like, those two don't like each other. They're rivals. Like, they just hate each other.
I have 3 favorite moments. What you got?
I got 2.
We already talked about, I think I saw inside of her.
Yeah, I put down my favorite lines. Yeah, wow.
I also love In Women Gotta Stick Together. Valencia is not playing the guitar so obviously, and it's so great.
I mean, it was making fun of all those.
Yes, absolutely. But she's strumming the guitar, but she's not moving her fingers at all.
Well, nor is it like even consistent with the beat that's happening. I mean, obviously maybe it's because I'm a dude, or maybe because it's not my genre of music. Those like empowerment, we all gotta be. There's just usually a joke to laugh. So I appreciated the mockery of this.
I like that too.
So yeah, it was hilarious. The lines though that she kept hitting them with it was just funny. Like, she had another insult waiting, and it would always be the same, like, oh, this girl's going to say something positive about me. Aww.
The one where she said that she drops to her knees faster than anything. It was like, shit, that's dark.
Dark?
Biting.
Yeah. Or the one where she said, you banged her boyfriend
in the bathroom
of that sushi place. Women gotta stick together.
Women gotta stick together. My favorite moment was Paula actually coming to get Rebecca anyway. We learn Rebecca finally admitting that she loves Josh and why she loves Josh. I think this is maybe the first time we've actually heard Rebecca describe why she likes Josh.
Yep, it is. That I can recall.
And it was a really interesting juxtaposition. She describes him as warm, kind, and understanding, which are 3 things that Rebecca never got from her mother or her father.
I don't know if we got that from her father, because I don't ever see
Well, he left,
yeah.
so...
But he could have been that way before.
I guess.
We know her mother's not like that. I liked Paula's speech. Like, Paula finally being like, enough of this bullshit. Either be real or I'm done with it.
I also love that at the end of that, she was like, except, like, only about Josh. We're still getting mani-pedis at lunch.
Do you have another one?
No.
Valencia's scheme was awesome.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was the premise of the entire episode. But it was like, you kind of saw the wheels turning, and she finally went, you know what, instead of exclude her, let's just include her and let her show exactly how crazy she is. Mm-hmm. Knowing that Rebecca will trip all over herself and make everyone feel terrible. I don't think she accounted for how bad it was going to make everyone else feel. I also don't know that Valencia cares enough about that.
Right. Well, and that I don't think, I mean, she didn't see it, but if she had seen what happened with Josh and Rebecca after that, I think Valencia herself also would have felt very bad about the situation.
She would have been angry. I wouldn't say she felt bad, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
No, she wouldn't have felt bad for Rebecca or Josh. She would have been upset. She herself would have been upset by what occurred.
Yeah, I agree. Yep, nope, 100% agree with that.
I have 2 most ridiculous moments.
I only have 1. So
we already talked about the pole dance, but specifically, Rebecca licked a pole that is in a party bus.
Yep.
So there's that.
That's nasty.
It's really nasty. And this just like occurred to me while we were watching this episode. What the fuck was Josh's office job in New York City?
Yeah. I had the same question, like...
Because I could totally see someone like Josh moving to New York City and just like working in a restaurant or like whatever. Sure. But he worked in an office? What was he doing?
Mail carrier? I mean, like, Josh can't be qualified.
He worked at a place where you're not allowed to wear shorts. Like, what place was that?
Hell. Yeah, I'd be very curious to see. And it made him miserable. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, like, maybe Dad was connected and got him a job at a place that just wasn't right. Or some, like, I'd love to know more about that. Because there's no way Josh was in an office and, like, not miserable.
Uh-huh.
I also appreciate that they have a shared level of disdain for New York. Because I also hate New York. California is significantly superior in literally every way, shape, or form. Hey, you have better bagels. That's right. I said it.
That's just not true.
I don't do like New York, I know.
The pole dance was yours.
No.
Oh, what was yours?
The most ridiculous moment was, despite everything, Rebecca still won't admit the truth.
That she moved here because of Josh.
Like, I don't know how close to the sun you need to get before you get burned, but like, what the hell are you doing at this point? It's so blatantly obvious, everyone can see it but you. Like, it's pathetic at this point.
Yeah, I mean, pathetic is a great word.
Yeah.
For the situation.
Yep.
I have 1 loser and 1 winner.
Well,
they gotta be the same.
I don't know. Often you pick her as a winner when I think she lost. So who is your loser?
Rebecca.
Okay. Yeah. Hands fucking down. I mean, I could see you giving her the win because of what happened at the end. That's a very Chelsea win. She finally realizes she's in love with Josh, and she had a good friendship with Paula. Like that, I've seen you give wins like that.
That's fair. The winner was Valencia.
Yeah,
I will agree. I will say that if Valencia had seen Rebecca and Josh talking, she would have lost. But she did not see that, and exactly what she wanted to have happen happened here.
Future Valencia may not be happy. Current Valencia is exactly where she wanted to be. And Rebecca left, so it's not like she had to spend time with her.
Well, and honestly, I mean, I think we've talked about this before. If Josh really wants to be with Rebecca, like, it ultimately would be better for Valencia if Josh was with Rebecca. Because it's not good for Valencia and Josh to be together if Josh is just thinking about Rebecca all the time.
No, I'm going to say this. If you think about who Valencia is and what she values in life, like what is important to her, I'm not entirely sure that she would react very well to someone like Rebecca winning a contest for a man over her. Like, this is probably one of the 3 things she's good at in life. Being hot, attracting men, and being good at yoga. Someone like Rebecca beating her might really cause some deep issues.
Although, also, if we're taking this... Like, there has to be more to Valencia than we've been shown so far. Because I just don't... I understand what you're saying about, like, she wants dumb men that she can manipulate. Mm-hmm. But why would she want a dumb man who doesn't have a job? That doesn't want to move in with her? Like she could date a hot, rich, dumb man. Like, honestly, if Rebecca was a man, I feel like Rebecca and Valencia would be a good fit. Rebecca's smart. She's a fucking lawyer. Like, I don't know.
Because if Valencia were a man, she would just be Josh.
If Valencia were a man, she would be Josh. Oh, I don't know if that's true. I think it is genuinely true that Josh is warm, kind, and understanding, and Valencia is not those things.
Sure. Both very vain, both very bossy.
Yep.
Now, Josh is better with people, obviously. He's charming in a way that Valencia is not. But, I mean, that also, I feel like you hear more men described as charming than you hear, like, women as, like, openly friendly. Like, that might just be, like, gender constructs for all we know.
Yeah. I mean, Josh is nice sometimes, but he's also controlling, which is not nice.
And they're both, like... I feel like a super dumb guy is treated the way Josh is, and a super dumb girl, a super hot dumb girl, is treated the way Valencia is. Mm-hmm. Unless she's like a ditzy blonde, that's like the exception to that rule.
Who's your second winner?
Josh.
100%.
Not YJo. Josh.
Josh?
Yeah.
Josh Chan.
Josh Chan. Josh was genuinely happy that somebody else had seen West Covina the same way that he did. Now, it's fake. She doesn't really... I mean, she kind of does see it, but not the way he sees it. But the look of joy on his face when he was like, somebody else understands why I love this place. And I am so happy that you came here based on a conversation that we had. And he's saying the right thing for the wrong reason to her, essentially. Like, I'm so happy and inspires you. But he was genuinely thrilled that she came in. That's a win. Like, that is genuinely a victory at the end.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah, and he apologized to Greg. So he kind of like acknowledged, like, you know what? You need not be so damn bossy in a way that we wish Valencia and Rebecca would do, where they would acknowledge something, or even honestly, Greg would do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My last thing is we've been ignoring our counts. They actually drove to the beach today. It didn't take 4 hours, but it seems like
Do you know how long it took? They were stuck in traffic.
Yeah, I mean, it took at least an hour, I would say.
It took longer than that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they stopped twice.
Yeah.
They were stuck in traffic for a while.
Yeah, it was a long time. And then something that I wish that we had been counting is how many, like, the different times that Paula says Valencia's name wrong. Vaseline this week.
I'll be honest, I haven't noticed her say it wrong prior to this one.
Oh, every time she mentions her name, she says something ridiculous.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, I've never.
She never says her name.
That's the running gag?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Well, we can all... The second best time would have been to start from the beginning. The best time could be to start now.
I wonder if I could look it up.
I'm sure you could. I guarantee somebody if that's a running gag, that's a reference. One thing that I will say I wish we got more of, and maybe I'm just speaking into the wind, I kind of want more lawyer Rebecca. Uh-huh. Like, we got lawyer Rebecca in the sense of the last episode about her just, like, lying to her mom about who she was. Yeah. But I feel like we don't get to see her being such a good lawyer that she is, in a way that... It's been a few episodes, I feel like, since we've seen, like, true, excellent, badass lawyer Rebecca. Mm-hmm. You know, like, I know all the cringe stuff is necessary, and we have to see all the bad parts of her, but, like, I would like to see some of the things that make Rebecca a likable and good person. Like, you like this character. I find this character to be obnoxious. I'm assuming there are reasons you like this character, and I'm not seeing it yet, but they kind of exist. Yeah. Show me.
I mean, I just want to remind you that this is a 4-season TV show, and the whole show is about personal growth. So, it's going to be a while.
When does she start growing? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah. Okay, I couldn't find a list of, like, everyone, but the 3 that I found so far, Venezuela, Valderrama,
don't remember that,
and my favorite, Velveeta.
I remember Venezuela. I do not recall the other 2 at all. That's hilarious.
Well, I'm looking forward to the next episode, which is called I'm Back at Camp with Josh. So everyone is going to get their wish. Rebecca gets to be with Josh, and Josh gets to relive his past.
I will say, I'm happy we got a song I like, because it had been a while since we've really gotten like a true, like, oh, that's a good song. Because I think I even asked that last episode, like, when do the good songs come back?
Well, please be sure to join us next time when we watch Season 1, Episode 10, I'm Back at Camp with Josh.
And we will see you next time.